Imagination, experience, description, verbal description, and measurement. Lie down. So now, imagine what it's going to feel like. Put your arms at your side. Imagine what it's going to feel like. I want you to keep your one arm straight and raise it up slowly. I'll just do it for demonstration. But at this point, you're just imagining what that feels like. Imagine in your mind feeling the weight of your arm, the shirt rubbing on your body, the muscles contracting, what parts of your body will push into the floor to counterbalance your arm. So use your imagination, okay? And you can feel your arm going up. That's the imagination part. Now the next part is experience. Now actually do that. Raise that arm and notice how that feels. Notice all the sensations associated with that. And notice how that actual experience is different than how you imagined it. What did you miss? And not only what did you miss, but notice that experiencing something is different than imagination. Imagination is an approximation, right? So we've imagined it, we've experienced the arm raising. Now tell me in words what it was like to raise your arm. What the experience was like to raise your arm. I noticed my shoulder muscles starting to contract and my butt pushing down into the floor to counterbalance it. I could feel the weight of my arm. This shirt I could feel on my arm and it was smooth. Go ahead and actually do it again and describe in words. I noticed as my arm got higher and higher, it had a sense of getting lighter and lighter until it was straight overhead, and then my muscles were able to relax more, didn't have to hold it up. So that's the verbal description. Imagination, experience, verbal description. And those are all different. The verbal description is not the same as actually experiencing it. Because you can't truly put an experience into words. It's a different kind of thing. Now, let's move into scientific mode. Now, let's just pretend that I have an assistant here. They're going to weigh my arm on a scale. It's 8 pounds. And they're going to get out their stopwatch. And they're going to get out their protractor. And they're going to clock how many seconds. At 5 seconds, we're at 35 degrees. We're at 40 degrees. We're at 80 degrees. So they're plotting the time and the angle that I've raised my arm, and they've measured the mass of the arm. So they're going to have some data that describes the raising of the arm. That's objectively measured. That's the kind of thing you can do with the scientific method. They're just like 4 facets of the same thing. Imagining doing something, actually experiencing it, putting that experience into words, and then putting it in objective terms like mass and time and things that can be measured that we tend to do in the lab. But what's my point? Partially I got motivated by we tend to think that the only things that are real in the world are the things that we can measure objectively. Mass, time, angles. We've learned a lot about the world by the things we can measure. But there's all of these other aspects that are not measurable. Your imagination is real. You imagine your arm going up. The experience of that imagination, seeing it and feeling it in your body, is real. The actual experience is real. But the words are another language to describe it. So those all count as ways to interrogate the nature of life and of the world. It doesn't have to just be in mathematical equations. You lie here, imagine what it's like to raise your arm. You're imagining what that's going to feel like. And there's the experience. Actually experience raising your arm. Then use words to tell someone what the experience was like of raising your arm. I felt this muscle contract and this push into here, and I felt my shirt rubbing, and I felt my arm get lighter. So that's the words. And then the last thing was measurement.
Oh, that's right. I remember
with
now.
a stopwatch and a protractor
That's
and a scale.
Okay.
That's the objective laboratory scientific method description of raising of the arm. Imagination. Because the part of where this came from was a recent dance exercise last Tuesday. They had us do that, lay on the ground and imagine moving, and then actually move. And I was struck by how the things that I didn't imagine, right? Sensations, and that's in that third mode, talking about experience. And how is that useful?
Especially if your imagination has been so stunted or pruned that you're unable to imagine it for yourself.
The measurement, putting objective measurement on a phenomenon. And that's a scientific lens. And I think if you're so deep in the scientific lens, you think that if it can't be measured, it's not real. Yeah. Because really, what can be measured is only a small fraction of things in totality, like most things.